Ron Chimelis is the Viewpoint correspondent for the Republican and Masslive, and he regularly drops by to share with us some of the issues that are catching his attention. In his latest visit, we started by asking Ron his reaction to word that Red Sox superstar David Ortiz will retire after next season. Where does he think Big Papi will rank in Red Sox lore?
Well, I'm not totally surprised, and I'm glad he's saying it now so we can appreciate him for one more year, so there's not a season of debate about that, especially if he starts slowly and questions about whether he should retire or not. He's got it out there, he's saying what his plans are, and we can absorb that.
Where do you think he's going to rank in Red Sox lore?
I think he's the most influential player in the history of the franchise, and that includes Ted Williams. Jonathan Papelbon said that. I don't normally agree with Jonathan Papelbon. The reason I said, not only is he a great player, a great hitter, he was the leader for 3 World Series championships, and he's been a bonding agent for the city. He's allowed minorities to root for the team comfortably. That had never really been the case before, and Pedro Martinez helped that too. I think you got to consider all of these things, and I don't want to dump on Ted Williams' legacy or Yaz. They're my favorites too. Ortiz has been a tremendous influence on and off the field.
I remember I was fascinated in 2004 reading one of the quotes after the season where he said to other guys on the team when they were down 3-0 to the Yankees, he said, look at the faces out there. He said, it's more than just the game to these people. It's everything. We got to really do this. They go out and with an awful lot of help from his bat, win 4 in a row, go and sweep the series.
He's embraced the pressure of playing in Boston, which has been multiplied because of the type of person he is. He's a superstar. Everything about him, good and sometimes not so good, is magnified. That's what a superstar is all about. In 2013, he did the same thing. They were losing to the Cardinals, and he got them together and says, you might not be here again. Don't lose this moment. And they responded.
Let's talk some of the other things that have been going on recently. In the wake of the Paris terrorist bombings, you wrote to me was just a fascinating column about the fact we are led our nation by a president who from the get-go has been an anti-war president, really elected on his opposition to the war in Iraq from the get-go. You wonder if a time now comes where we are boots on the ground in Syria against ISIS. Is this president a wartime leader? And more than that, are the people going to follow?
I think that's a double-edged question, and I don't have the answers to that. I have some anxiety about it. In both cases, he's never been a commander-in-chief per se. That's not what he's all about. But sometimes crisis and situations make it rise to that occasion. And the other side of that is if he does become that boots-on-the-ground commander, and he says at the moment that won't happen in Syria, but we'll see, will the nation rally behind him? We're a very polarized nation now, and he's a very polarizing president. Will we get behind our leader because we have to? And I don't know the answer to that.
Likewise, in those days right after the attack, when questions were coming up about admitting Syrian refugees to this country, our governor, Charlie Baker, joined, I guess, the majority of governors across the country in saying, I have real reservations about letting these people in. A hailstorm of criticism. You came in and said, wait a minute, let's look at all sides of this. Let's not be unfair to the governor.
Well, I think the treatment of the governor has been very unfair because he's saying, let's look at this. A lot of the other governors, and the decision, the announcements came across party lines. Republicans were against it, with one exception in New Hampshire, and Democrats said, let him in. Charlie Baker's saying, well, I want to know what the rules are. What are we doing exactly? I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think it's heartless. I think he just wants to make sure this is done properly, and he's keeping the door open, if it is done properly, to admit some refugees.
Your column raised what for me was, kind of the whole basis to some extent of who we are as a people. You said, what's the priority here? Is it liberty or is it public safety?
Well, I'd like to think it's both. And that's a hard one. This is a very complicated issue. I'm bothered that this is breaking down on partisan lines because I think there's much more to it than that. And I don't think keeping public safety in mind is wrong. On the other hand, this country's been built on letting people in who needed to. I'd hate to see that discarded, but I think it has to be done carefully. And there's not a lot of time to do it because these refugees need help right now.
Is that just something, you and I, in our business especially, like to think about the free society, freedom of speech. We can't go to work in the morning if we don't have that. Do we just have to accept there's kind of a danger built into living in a free society that allows you to speak and assemble, move about freely? A lot of countries don't allow that. But that makes it rather hard to stop a terrorist or someone who's going to do something to hurt others right off the bat.
It is the ultimate challenge of a democracy, I think. Just how much freedom will you allow, especially when you're nervous or worried, as we are now, and with reason. How much will you be willing to mortgage the freedoms that we kind of take for granted in order to make sure that we feel safe? That's a very difficult balancing act.
Another topic you brought up, very interesting, addressing the issue of Bill Cosby, who's been a mainstay here in Western Massachusetts, lives here and been here for many, many years. All the various nefarious charges against him in the last year or two. Many honorary degrees he's been granted. They're not sure even how many. They think it's somewhere in the range of 80, 90. It's more than 60.
Yes.
Many have been withdrawn. You find the whole idea of honorary degrees, I think you use the term bewildering in your comment.
And to some extent unnecessary. It's showbiz education. And I've always felt that way, and I'm kind of heartened to get some letters from people who agreed with me on this. I know people, as you I'm sure have worked and spent all their money and taken out loans and worked for years, and they earn degrees. And then we hand one to somebody for a good reason sometimes. But that does bother me. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's necessary.
Ron Chimelis, the Viewpoint columnist for Masslive and the Republican. Always a pleasure to have you with us, sir.
Thank you. Great to be here.